everyone, it's Sharana from Pay or Wait, and today I'm going to be reviewing Monster Hunter, which hits theaters this Friday. This film is directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, and it stars Milla Jovovich and Tony Jaa, as we center around Lieutenant Artemis and her group of loyal soldiers as they are transported into a new world where they engage in a desperate battle of survival against some enormous enemies with incredible powers. So for those of you who don't know, this is, you guessed it, another video game adaptation. This is based on the Capcom game Monster Hunter. And for those of you who are new to my channel, welcome, hello. So glad you came. I hope you stay. I tell you what I liked about the film, what I didn't like about the film, and should you pay or wait to see this film in theaters, because we need to know what to do with our coins right now. But going into what I did enjoy about Monster Hunter, I love Milla Jovovich. I think she does a fantastic job of really commanding attention. I love, as she is this unit leader of this squad, I think she does a great job of holding her own against Tony Jaa. Which is real, like, it's Tony Jaa. And she did that. There's a scene where they kind of first come in contact with one another. We don't know who's good or who's evil. And I love the scene that they have. They went toe to toe, and she truly holds her own. I think she's one of the great action stars, especially, I love her that she's actually one of the first action female stars that I grew up on watching her in the Resident Evil films. And I think she does such a great job in this film as well. Now, even though her storyline, we're going to have to talk about that when I get into the cons of what I didn't like about the film, but she makes it enjoyable to watch. She looks badass. She looks great in the fight sequences. I think I just love watching her on screen. And Tony Jaa, it's Tony Jaa. Okay, now we're going to have some issues in regards to this language barrier that we gave him in this film, which I thought was highly disrespectful. But I honestly have to say that he actually outshines Milla in this film. I really felt as though that the film should have been centered around his character. As you get to understand his character and know that he's been existing in this world for so long, it really helps Milla's character, Lieutenant Artemis, really helps her along her path to really understand what she's up against, what the real threat, what the real danger is. And I think when they focus on these two, which is for the majority of the film, I think that's what works for me, because I enjoy their presence on screen so much. And the times where I felt like, Lord, is this movie about to be over? They kept me engaged, and they made me want to stick it through to the end, and even though it was very hard. Now, also, too, there are some fun action sequences in here, especially as we're getting into the first act of the film, as she's with her squad, as we see kind of what they're going through as they're being transported into this new dimension, this new world. There are some fun moments that happen with that. I love some of the scenery as we get into car crashes and explosions. I enjoyed that. The film does look it looks expensive. It looks like, hey, like, I don't know how the heck did you convince these people to give you the budget that they gave you, but I will say that the movie does look nice. Even though we get into some little, with the effects in the third act of the film, I did think that it looked good. I love the world that they presented to us. It helped transport me into that world. But that's really all that I liked about Monster Hunter, to be quite honest with you. There's a lot of issues that I have with this film, but most importantly, it's the story. I don't know what the hell the story is in Monster Hunter. There's some things that happen with Milla's character. You see that she stares at this ring throughout the course of the film. I was just like, oh, okay, like, is that your ring? Is that your husband's ring? Like what is happening? Are they going to give us a backstory into how she got into this predicament? And no, there's nothing more that you learn about Milla's character as Lieutenant Artemis from when the movie first started to when the movie ends. And I was just confused. Even with Tony Jaa's character, who is the most entertaining and interesting character in the entire film, I don't know nothing else about this man from when the movie first starts to when it ends. And it's crazy to me, because this is supposed to be, this is like almost the origin movie. This is the first film they're trying to build a franchise out of Monster Hunter, but I don't have a sense of what the world is itself. I know what the world looks like through the different set pieces as these two go along their journey, as they're trying to get back to another dimension, but I don't know why this world exists. Like, what is happening? Who are the key players of this world? There's nothing that you're introduced to. And if you're trying to build a franchise that that you want the audience to be invested in, you would think I would like get a little bit of world building. Is that too much to ask? But there's just no story. And so for the majority of the film, if it wasn't for Milla and Tony and really like the martial arts skills that you see, the action sequences, even though some of those dragged at times, I was just like, I don't know what I'm watching, why I'm watching it, what is the purpose behind this film. But I think the most like WTF moment of the film is the fact that Tony Jaa's character doesn't speak English. And really there's this back and forth, this as she's trying to teach him, like to try to get her to understand him to understand her, and it takes away from the film. I'm just like, why couldn't Tony just speak the same language as Milia, even though there's other people who came from different dimensions in the film that speaks English? I just didn't understand why we wasted time having them go back and forth with this language barrier when it just didn't need to exist. And it almost felt a little bit offensive because it was just like, what was the point? I didn't understand it. But for those of you who might not know, my biggest pet peeve in movies is wigs. And baby, that wig y'all gave Ron Perlman, I couldn't even take his character seriously because I'm looking at this matted rug on the top of this man's head. Why did y'all disrespect him like this? Why did he allow you to disrespect him like that? I couldn't even take it seriously. I literally was just like, are y'all trying to battle against Tyler Perry for the worst wig of the century? Like, what is happening here? But that was just me being petty. Lord, I said I wasn't going to be petty no more. But I had to say it because y'all know when y'all saw that picture of Ron Perlman, y'all said, what in the everlasting heck is happening on top of this man's head? But overall for me, even though I enjoy our two main characters, I didn't know what was happening before my eyes. Like, the story just absolutely made no sense. And there's really no cohesion between where we go from the second to the final act of the film. And really, when the film ended, I was like, oh, like, this it? Like, I felt like they should have finished that whole scene out. I don't know why we just stopped there. Did they cut the budget? Like, did they mean to end it like this? And then they had the audacity to come back and set the film up for a sequel. I said, what? Like, that sequel that y'all just set up in this like end credit scene, that should have been the rest of this actual movie. What is happening here? So what I would tell you guys to do with you and your coins for this film is to wait. Even though it does have good action, mainly because of Tony Jaa and Milla Jovovich, there's no story here. It doesn't get you invested in the characters, to care about the characters, to understand what world that they're actually setting up for Monster Hunter. And I never played the video game, so maybe the video game itself doesn't have a story, but I mean, we could have used a little bit of creativity. Like, just give us something to work with. Give us some people to root for. Lord, just fix it, Jesus. Just fix it. I can't. So yeah, it's a wait for me. So those are my thoughts on Monster Hunter. As always, my name is Sharona from Pair Waits. If you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit the notification bell. And I love you guys 3000. And until I see you again.